Stand clear of the closing doors, please. Of the closing doors, please.
It's alive!
Transfer is available.
The next and last stop is...
You're tuning into the Subway Creatures. You're tuning into the Subway
Welcome to another episode. This is a special episode. This is probably the first time we've not had Kim or Petey in the studio. I'm gonna buy us some time while Tank over here switches out his chairs. But this is the first time that we don't have the two of them. So sitting in to my right, Alex Scarlato, thank you so much for sitting in today.
Thanks for having me.
And good old Tank Sinatra over here. Yeah. Tank, how are you, man?
I'm great, bro. Very
Awesome.
happy to be here. Finally had me on.
Well, I had you on. You actually do have your own show here, however.
I know. I have my own show here because you have your own show here.
Yes.
That's true.
That is a little true.
It's 100% true.
You were going to do your show either way.
I said I have my show here because you have your show here.
Right.
And that day you blessed me with the information that there was a studio where I could do podcasts. I honestly did not know that.
Did you guys know each other before coming over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, through Instagram.
You guys just, all the Instagram dudes know each other? You guys
I came here because he told me that he was doing his podcast here, and I was like, wait, what?
Tank hit me up randomly one day. He goes, so did Barstool buy you out? There was like 1 week where Barstool reposted Subway Creatures like 4 times. And he was like, dude, did they just buy you out? Like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, no,
No, they just gained me like another million followers.
Yeah, they just repost me and they give me credit. And, by the way, what's up, man? Let's talk through some shit. Because, we do a lot of the same thing. And it's actually, I think a lot of that's, we'll be able to shed more light on that in the future.
Yeah.
But we're working on some things.
Yeah.
And but I want to talk about what you have going on, man. You have Tank's Good News.
Yeah.
You have the Think Tank.
Yeah.
You have Tank Sinatra. You are kind of an enterprise over here.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, at least the start to one, maybe.
I like to look like one. Yeah. Feel like one. It's just a matter of what works and what doesn't. But I can't not try anything, not anything and everything that occurs to me. But if something occurs to me that I think has legs and I'm interested in, I do pursue it.
Do you
every
do
single
fan
time.
questions on your show called Tanks for Asking?
No, but I will.
Well, write it down.
Yeah,
write it down
thanks
now.
for asking.
Write it down now.
I think that
He does use tank as a pun in everything, though.
No, I don't.
It just seems like that. You absolutely do.
I think you do, but I'm with it.
No. Well, Think Tank, yeah. Think Tank podcast. Tank's Good News. But Tank's Good News, I tried to use it as a pun and make it Tank Goodness, but somebody had that. Like, what the fuck are you doing with that? Yeah, it's not a thing. It was taken. It's definitely not. Nobody's.
Right. They just wasted that great name.
Yeah. I think it was a pit bull or something.
That
like
sounds
2
about
pictures
right.
of a dog.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Tank Goodness. Somebody like misspelled it and they just forgot the password. Now I can't use it.
You celebrate Thanksgiving?
It works out. Yeah, I do. Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I sit corrected.
See, if Kim were here too, she does. You two are on the same page because she loves the puns.
That's why we co-host a show together.
Exactly. I want to ask you though, how the hell you are kind of known as the meme guy?
Yeah.
I mean, among other things, but mainly you started off as the meme guy.
Yeah.
How did you get into this? Like, where did it all start?
So it's funny because I felt akin to you because you were getting credited by Barstool.
Right.
Because that was at a time when they were under heavy fire for just fucking stealing everything from everybody and not caring and not responding. And
There was a couple accounts that were under fire for that.
Well, they were at that exact time.
Right.
That was like their time in the fire.
I gotcha.
So back when I started, I was given credit a lot by the fat Jewish. Like once a week, definitely sometimes twice or 3 times a week. He built my account up to like 300,000 before I even had a chance to like blink and see what was going on.
Right. And for the people who don't know who that is, he's one of the
Mired
biggest,
in controversy.
Right.
Yeah, mired in controversy. Over that same thing, taking it. It's a little bit of like, I don't know, I give him a little bit more of a pass because he's an individual. Barstool is an entity. They have a huge staff of people that could find the source of these things. But anyway, plus it was a long time ago when the rules were Not different. They
it was
did
the
not
Wild
exist.
West. It was the Wild West. There
rules-
weren't really rules.
Their rules did not exist. They were not
Right.
there. So, but for some reason, he took a liking to me, and he really helped me out. So that's why when I saw that, I was like, man, sometimes you just get thrown a bone in life.
But he
Yeah.
was like
You know what I mean?
crediting you with the posts, right?
The memes that I was making, yeah.
Right.
But I
So-
was also one of the first people who started making their own memes exclusively.
So I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people, and maybe rightfully so, I don't know. They think that, these meme accounts are just people either reposting like what we just talked about, or they're just sitting on their couch all day, thinking of stuff. What is, a regular day? Maybe not now, because I think now is probably a bad representation because you have so many other things going on.
Same.
But maybe in the beginning,
Yeah.
what was the day in and day out of Tank Sinatra putting together these memes and building off of this this meme account?
So I would wake up in the morning, do the family thing, go to work. I had a job selling fence for a fence company out in Long Island. I would go to the gym. I would make phone calls. I would go to a meeting. The program that I go to. So the point of that is that like my mind was constantly stimulated. If you want to sit on a couch and make memes, you've got about 3 weeks before you run out of life experiences to draw upon. So that's like the thing that I come up against the most with people who are shocked that I'm 38 years old. They're like, oh, you're fucking a 38-year-old man making memes. Like, well,
It's a living.
aside from that, try and be 21 and write a meme 4 times a day, every day for 3 years.
Yeah.
You don't have enough life in you. So I was fortunate to be not forced, but established a little bit already where I had a job, I had a wife, I had kids. My life needed to be lived whether the memes were happening or not. So the memes just became a reflection of what was going on in my life. So I realized one day, and it was a huge relief, I was like, I'm never going to run out of material.
Yeah.
As long as I stay aware, I'm always aware.
Right. And not only just staying aware, but also, you got to know current events. You got to keep up with what's going on in the news, because it seems like a lot of your content is so relevant to what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And you know how it works. 24 hours and people forget about it.
Yep.
And it's both a blessing and a curse in our industry.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of time you want people to just forget about some things, but then there's other times where you're like, you want the credit for what may all of a sudden become viral a day or two later.
Yeah.
And that was happening to you a lot, wasn't it?
What, people stealing my memes?
Yeah, stealing them, but also, sometimes I remember, and I think you got really good at this, kind of branding your name on them.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you had your own app. I think you still do. Is it Momus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also have, to try and just shed widespread light on this topic, a movie called Meme Gods coming out. It's a documentary that Cedric the Entertainer is the executive producer. We're co-producing it with Adam Carolla's production company. It's a big fucking deal. It's probably one of the biggest things I've ever been a part of, and I cannot wait till it comes out. It's in crowdfunding mode right now. It's on a site called microventures.com/Adam or microventures.com/Adam or Cedric, whatever, I don't know. memegodsmovie.com is the website.
Right.
And you can go see what it's about, and it's 30 memers who all have made their name like writing their own content, because it's important to shed light on the people I think who
Absolutely.
make the content,
the originals,
not just distribute it.
Right.
But we also got color from some people that I met through the memes, like Mila Jovovich and Neil Brennan, Mario Lopez, like these like old, like not old, I'm not calling them old, but like these established Hollywood people that you would not think would take the time to engage with a meme account.
Right.
And then 50 Cent, Shaq, people that have been in memes, a big part
Really
of memes.
is a big deal, yeah.
It's a big deal. And we also have this guy, Brad Kim, who runs knowyourmeme.com. We got an IP lawyer to talk about like the ramifications of actually, not ramifications, the liability of what we do. So I think it's going to be an interesting movie where it's getting pretty close.
Yeah, and I saw a trailer for that, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. Maybe me more so, because
you're in
I kind of fall a little, not as necessarily the memes, but that social media industry.
Yeah.
It definitely falls a little bit into it. But going off the liability thing, especially with what I have going on, I've had numerous conversations with lawyers because, I think that there's a precedent that has not been set yet.
Yeah.
That once it is set,
Yeah.
is going to be huge. And that is, how far can we go talking about people before it's slander or, people who don't have, not giving consent. And I know I run into that a lot. I don't know how much you do, but, that there are aspects to it. And I don't even know if the documentary touches upon anything like that. But, there are aspects where I think at some point it's going to happen in the future. And that is going to be an absolute game changer.
I disagree because if it was the main problem in our world is the pictures, right? So if there was going to be a landmark case that defined how things moved forward with pictures, it would have happened already. Photography has been around forever. Memes are new, but pictures and IP have been around forever. It's just nobody really fucking cares. Like the problem is I find a picture and I find most 99% of maybe 100% of my pictures on Reddit. I'll just go through a bunch of different subreddits that I have saved and find something that I feel like I can put a funny spin on. And I would say the majority of the time, the Reddit post is not the original source of the picture.
Of course, yeah.
You got to do a reverse image search. You get 68,000 results. You got to find it. And at the end of the day, it's just some chick who took a picture of her kid or a dog. Nobody really cares. They make a big deal out of it, and I get it. But as far as the legal ramifications, I used it right that time. I don't think there's going to be that kind of massive case because it's not. Nobody cares.
But all it could take is one. I guess that's what I meant more. Yeah. All it takes is that one time, and you're really setting that benchmark where.
But what are they going to say? You used my picture and wrote a funny joke above it? Like,
I mean, that might be all it takes.
Take it down.
I could see a scenario of like some sort of like emotional scarring due to maybe a child being in like a super famous meme. The argument for it at least could be made of like my kids had like lifelong effects from being this meme, or
that would have already happened because
it probably would have.
The memes where the choices were very limited have already come and gone. Usually if I use a picture, it's not going to be a huge meme. It gets seen by on a good day 2 million people, on a really good day 2 million people. So there was a website called Quick Meme where there was like you had like 15 choices. That's it. That's all you had. And the people who were memes on that website went on to become pretty famous. Bad Luck Brian, Overly Attached Girlfriend.
Can you imagine becoming one of those memes that just lives on forever?
Yeah.
But they don't because it's over already for them. Nobody uses those anymore.
Not necessarily. You see them pop up a lot. I mean, you would know, obviously, better than I would.
Memes are always still in rotation.
I see them all the time. I mean, people use them all the time. You always see the one with the guy walking with the girlfriend and he's looking over his shoulder.
Oh, yeah,
that one's constant.
I see that one.
Well, that one's only like 2 years old. I'm talking about 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see here, we got a couple pictures here.
This kid is... he has to spend his whole life being that guy. Come on.
He loves it, though. He loves it.
Well, you got to own it at some point. You know what? It's worse if you complain and bitch about it. You just got to own it.
You got to own it.
Yeah.
But imagine if. So I think about this a lot because timing is very important. If that happened today, that guy would have 10 million followers and his entire life would be changed. Just like fucking Danielle Bergoli, her life is completely always be forever different because she became a meme.
She's a hero,
and she had the platform and the draw to be able to like. Accumulate a following. Now she has a platform. Now she makes music. She's worth, I'm sure she's got to be worth millions at this point, unless she's a total idiot. But I'm sure she's got good people around her that are pointing her in the right direction. It's just unfortunate that Bad Luck Brian, like literally you could write on the Bad Luck Brian meme, becomes a famous meme 10 years before it matters.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like another Bad Luck Brian meme.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a valid point. I also want to talk about, obviously Tank's Good News and the Think Tank.
Yeah.
Think Tank you actually shoot here, correct?
Think Tank podcast. Yep.
Yep. And so what is there a tie-in between those or are those separate? Like, are those the same concept?
Those would be, like Think Tank podcast is a hybrid of Tank Sinatra and Tank's Good News. I always say Tank Sinatra is humor with a hint of positivity. And Tank's Good News is positivity with a hint of humor. There's overlap. There's a Venn diagram, and in the middle is Think Tank.
That gray area.
So I get to be serious and dive deep on topics with people that I'm interested in and I want to explore, and then I get to be funny and goofy at the same time. It's an hour, so you got a lot of time to show different faces.
And I can vouch, it's hard to fill an hour. That is a long time
Yeah.
when you're doing a podcast, and I give you credit. You're doing it just yourself and a guest.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. You gotta
I had a couple
really
of rough spots.
Did you?
In the beginning, you wouldn't know it listening to them, but I remember sitting there talking to a couple of people, and I'm just like, fuck, what am I going to say when he's done?
And I'm laughing because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I've been in that position before. You're like, we can't round this out
Yeah,
yet.
that's crazy.
We're only 30 minutes in. We need another 30 minutes of filler.
But then, like, it's like a bomb goes off. You get a little detonation, and it's like, okay, we're good now. Like, we're good for another.
Right. Well, for what it matters, I have listened to the show. I maybe I didn't hear any of those episodes, but I didn't pick up on any of that.
Yeah.
But you do have some good guests on there. I will say that. I listened to the Alice Eve episode, the Ross Marquand.
Yeah.
That was a good one. The guy who does all the imitations.
Yep.
That was a really good one. But I mainly wanted to talk about Tank's Good News because that really has a positive message, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And you're actually doing a lot of good with that page. Can you just talk about that for a second?
Yeah. So Tank's Good News it was just born out of who I am as a person. It wasn't something that I thought was going to be big. I just thought I needed to do it. That's when, like, the best things happen in my life is when I just have, like, this thing I need to express, and I have an outlet to express it and the means to, and I just do. And then it got really big really fast. It hit like 100,000 followers in 3 days. And then it was up to 400,000 in like the first 3 months. And then it just has been steadily growing. So I know it doesn't matter, but it does matter a little bit. But the amount of celebrity followers that I have on there,
It absolutely
is like
matters.
staggering.
It absolutely matters, especially with the way social media is set up these days with the algorithms
Yeah, it does.
and all that stuff, especially with the following that they have.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now your account's getting recommended to all the people that follow them.
Yep.
It absolutely makes a big difference. But the message that you're portraying on that page, I think, is what the big draw is. Do you crowdsource for your stories on that? Do people DM you? Like, how does that work?
No, so I found a lot of them on Reddit originally. Every big news media outlet has a little tucked away in the corner of their website good news section that they just don't put out there because it doesn't generate clicks for them.
And they're the media. They need to fearmonger to get clicks.
You can't compete with a school shooting with some guy who saved a deer in a frozen lake.
No, you cannot.
I can, because that's my only thing. I learned that I don't blame the media for what they do. If anything, I blame the people. I think the people have to be culpable for how they click and operate on the internet. If you're going to keep clicking and keep retweeting this shit, you're going to get more of it. That's how the algorithm works. The algorithm is a reflection of life. If you go on Google and you type in what happened bad today, guess what you're going to get? If you go on Google and you type in what happened good today, you're going to get a totally different set of results. So Google is just an extension of your brain. The media is not the problem. It's the people and the way they think. But I figured out that the media, like, they create a visceral reaction in people. And it's negative and it's scary and it gets them charged up. And then they send them to commercial. So the people associate that excited feeling with Target. So, like, they go to Target to try and get that feeling to leave.
Yep.
I create a visceral reaction, but it's not an adrenaline reaction. It's like an emotional reaction. I don't create it. I get it on my page. I understand why people come to the page, scroll through, and then they write me. They're like, holy shit, I cannot believe what I missed these last 3 months. Like, just scrolling for a little while. So the Tank's Good News, I realized there was two pivotal points in the page. One was right when I first started it. I knew that something was there, and the engagement was off the charts, and people started sending me good news. So whether or not I post it, people do send me a ton of good news. I'm not going to say they don't. I just like to find my own. But I realized that not only were they getting one degree of positivity, they were turning around and going and looking for it in their own life, which is exactly what I wanted to happen.
Absolutely.
That's the ripple that I was going for. So mission accomplished, like, within the first week. The second thing that happened was page was a little stagnant around Christmas of 2018. And I was out to dinner with my friend for his birthday, his wife, my wife, and every once in a while, I don't know if you do this or not. This is such a niche thing to do. I'll go to my followers and scroll at like 100 miles an hour to see if I see any blue checks.
I have a list in my phone of every fucking blue check that follows me.
But you scroll.
But because you never know when you're going to need to use that blue check somehow to your advantage.
And sometimes it's somebody important. Sometimes it's a fucking rugby player. And you're like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah, there are definitely a couple. You know, I've come across a couple of people that have like 300 followers with a blue check. And I'm like, I have no idea who you are. Why are you?
Rower?
How are blue checks, how are other people's blue checks used to your advantage, just in terms of like them following you and you being able to...
It's nothing more than just, it's very visible. So when you scroll fast, you can see, a blue check, you see who it is. 9 times out of 10, it's a fucking, a news reporter from Kansas.
So I know that Tank does this because we've talked about this. But it's beneficial because... especially with like a podcast and any other ways I do charity, there are different ways that you can get these people involved. And because we have blue checks, when you reach out to them, especially because they follow you anyway, it automatically will go to their DMs. But that blue check...
Instead of the message request box.
Right. That blue check also kind of validates you in a way. So they respond, they're like, oh, wait, who is this? I need to check this out.
Who's this blue check motherfucker?
Yeah, exactly. Just same thing that we do.
Yeah.
There is not one person in the world with a blue check who I would not respond to right now.
Well, that's what
You have a blue check. Yeah. I can't wait to respond to you.
Well, when you get to a point where...
I'm like, what?
Like you were saying, there are a lot.
Me?
But then you can use them like, hey, do you want to come onto the podcast and talk about, what just happened with you? Ben Stiller got caught on the train, with all these fans, hey, do you want to come on? You can do things like that. Maybe you're doing a charity and you know that one of them does a charity, maybe on the West Coast. Hey, do you want to get involved with this charity? There's different ways that you can kind of utilize it. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of time you either don't get a response or they're just like, no, they'll straight up just be like, no, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And that's fine too, because, why should they have to say yes?
Right.
But those are some ways that are beneficial,
So I was out to dinner and I'm scrolling and I wasn't feeling well. I was like a little sick, but it's one of my best friends. I didn't want to miss his birthday. So anyway, I pick up my phone, I scroll and I'm like, oh shit. I just keep scrolling. What the fuck? I scroll again. There was like 6 or 7 like mega people that I was like, oh my fucking God, what is happening right now? It was Mindy Kaling, Nick Kroll, Olivia Munn.
Does it make you wonder if they're all at a party together, like showing your shit?
So I have a funny story about this. Kristen Bell, Reese Witherspoon, it was a lot of people that just followed me out of nowhere. So what happened was I was working on something with this guy at this point, right? And he kept telling me, I'm going to get this person involved. I'm going to get that person involved. Tank's good news this, Tank's good news that. So I texted him like 2 days later and I'm like, hey, did you mention me? Or maybe it's the next day. Did you mention me at a party tonight or something? Because like, were you at a party, like a massive fucking like the Met Gala, essentially? And you were just like, hey, everybody, follow Tank's good news. And he just sent back a winky face. So I was like, oh, all right, it was him.
It was the Oscars, but yeah.
Fucking dude was lying. Because I actually reached out to someone, this girl, Kelly Oxford, she's an actress, and I said, hey, I'm glad you're here. I'm just wondering how you found me because the other night, like 15 of you guys followed me out of nowhere, and I'm just wondering how it happened. So what happened was Jimmy Kimmel's wife had reposted me and said, like, you have to go follow this page. And Jimmy Kimmel's wife has a very small private page, but it's just...
all blue checks.
Blue. Yeah, it's like a Rolodex of who's who in Hollywood. So that's how it happened, and that just reignited the page. And then like a week later, Kristen Bell reposted me on her story. She was crying. She said, Tank's Good News is a mandatory follow for 2019.
Oh, that's another
one,
huge endorsement.
Another one, boom.
Yeah.
And it just woke the page back up. And those 2 points, I was like, I don't know. There's little victories along the way. Those were just 2 that stick out in my mind of like, is this my life? Like, what's happening right now?
Yeah, and it's very easy because of the positive message that it sends. You don't, like a lot of people, look at the difference between what we're talking about right here. We're talking about Tank's Good News and SubwayCreatures. It's you have the best stories in the news, and then you come over here and what we're going to be talking about in a minute, guys jumping in front of trains. Like it's so polar opposite, but
yeah, it's so highly marketable. Like
that's exactly
yeah, like almost in that it's not like in the idea that the news outlets don't want these stories because like good news is like, you know, not as marketable in theory as bad news, but then the lack of it being out there is like,
yeah, but getting next to it is very powerful. Like I
Yeah.
remember around the time that Tank's Good News was really getting big and I launched the website, I remember reading an article that said either Procter & Gamble or GE or Johnson & Johnson or somebody pulled $250 million in advertising money off of YouTube because their ads kept running against fucking white supremacy shit, Nazi, white nationalists. Like, if you're trying to sell baby shampoo and you
Family
show up in
friendly,
front of
yeah.
some guy who's like this,
Yeah.
like I don't want to buy that shampoo anymore, and I don't even know why. It just doesn't feel right. This one is like I don't know. I'd rather use Dove.
Right, and that's what I found out, you know, just kind of talking to some of these people. It's that, like, some of them, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm convinced, like, Jake Gyllenhaal has a ghost account that follows me. Because he's reposted videos of mine before, but he doesn't follow me. So I'm like, maybe he is a ghost account. They like...
Does he credit you?
He does. That's the only way I know.
Oh.
That's the only way that I know that
Big Jake.
he gets them. But they love following because of the content. But when it comes to, oh, you know, do you want to like work together? Do you want to come? It's like, oh, no, I can't be affiliated with a name, the SubwayCreatures, where, you know, you got some risque shit going on. But with Tank Good News,
Yeah.
that's
wanna
a
get
that's a
beside
that's
that, yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
match made in heaven for them.
Yeah.
And they want to get in bed with that because that
The right
is-
ones.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
exactly right down their alley of the good PR that they
Yeah, it
need.
makes them look good. It makes them feel good. I had to do something recently for, I told you I'm doing a thing with Mike's Hard Lemonade where I curated a bunch of stories and they're putting out an actual physical newspaper. And I post these things every day. So I'm like, not numb to it, but I've become conditioned to like, oh shit. Like every once in a while I'll be like, oh my God, that story's incredible. But I was forced to go back through like the last 6 months and look at all the stories and pull ones that fit the criteria that they were looking for. And it was a pretty powerful experience going through all these stories and looking to see all the good that happened in the world over the last 6 months only. Just 6 months. This Tank's Good News obviously didn't start when I started this page. This has been going on forever. It's like we should be ashamed at how much we've missed the mark over the last 30 years as far as what we're choosing to focus on.
Right.
And wondering why we all have anxiety.
Right.
Well, you just watched 2 episodes of a murder documentary and an hour of raping, kidnapping, and murder in your hometown. And you're wondering why you're having trouble sleeping?
I know, but those murder documentaries are so good.
Yeah.
They're so good. I'm so addicted to those. I can watch those just in a marathon and never get old. They'll never get old.
It's like the more fucked up the details of the story are, the more you
I
want to
love-
watch it. It's
You guys don't get
crazy.
scared watching those, feeling like,
See,
what if you snap
don't-
one day and kill 8
I don't
people?
get scared because I think that, like I mentioned before,
Alex is
I
like,
get scared on the other end. I'm
can
like, what if
I-
someone kills
well,
me?
we're also desensitized because of all the
I need a
stuff.
different seat.
Yeah, but I think, you know, I just think that not only are we desensitized, but I think that, you know, when you're watching these things and you get to episode 3 of like maybe one of the 5 episode shows, you get to episode 3 and you're like, how is there 2 episodes left? Like everything's done.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden
So
they
much
just
has
throw in there, they're
happened.
like, but it wasn't her. And you're like, what the fuck? You're like, we're about to start all over again. And like these are the last 2 episodes, you're
Oh,
like,
so you like the actual justice system part of it.
No, not necessarily. I like the twists. I like
Yeah.
the plot twists where, you know, you're watching these shows and all of a sudden
I don't know, bro. Humans killing other humans just like makes me feel.
There's-
I feel, and I'm being as honest as I possibly can. I feel like what happened to them? What's the difference between me and them that they decided to murder somebody?
well, that's in the documentary. It's in the episode 1. They
that's
were raised
the-
and they were diddled by their dad, and then they got fucking. They went to school, and the priest was raping them, and like, you know, it's
That's true.
There is a lot, you know, fucked up shit that happens to these people. But I think, you know, it's almost like a Black Mirror episode for us. We do watch these, and it's almost like going to the zoo. It's almost like, you know, you do feel like the computer
feel-
screen or the
I-
TV screen
Yeah.
is the cage and the animals on the inside, and you don't have to worry about it because you're in your bed or your couch.
I always put myself in the animals' shoes also. So maybe that's my problem.
Yeah,
you need to stop
seem-
doing that. Look at you. You can't sleep now. Or you just don't watch them.
I have empathy, compassion. You should try it on for size.
We have
Yeah.
morbid curiosity. It's great.
Morbid curiosity?
Yeah, I
I
think
don't have that. Maybe that's the
Yeah,
missing.
you seem to lack morbid curiosity. Like just
I
the way
heard
you're
that's a
talking.
normal thing, though. Morbid
I-
curiosity.
I'm not
is
saying-
a
That's
normal
what this
thing.
show
I feel
is.
more-
I mean,
yeah.
a lot of the time,
I
the
feel
videos
more
you watch,
abnormal for the way that I feel.
Yeah,
than the
you're
way-
you're the weird one in this room. All
Oh
right.
yeah,
Let's get
I might
that
kill
straight.
everybody, dude. I don't know.
Let's get into some good news. All right. So
Make
this-
sure to follow Tank's Good News.
Yeah. So this next story that we're about to get into is a guy. This falls right into your lap as with good news. This guy ended up saving someone who was trying to hurt themselves in the subway. We have him here in the studio. I'm really looking forward to getting into this interview because I want to hear this guy's story. We also have some video to go with it. And even after that, don't go anywhere. We do have more Subway news coming up. But first, the story of the guy who saved another man who tried to jump in front of the train coming up right now. All right, we are in the studio with Daniel Chocron. I hope I got that right that time.
Perfect.
Awesome. You had this video that we're going to show in just a second, which I'm baffled. I don't understand why this has not been in the mainstream media yet. It is a video of you stopping a man from killing himself.
Yep.
I got that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was, I think.
Why don't we show the videos we have first, and then we'll get right into this.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
Coco, you fucking savage. You just saved a life. Oh my god. Oh my boy.
Is
And
that your friend?
So yeah, I was with my friends and I ran across before.
Did you run?
you
over
ran
the
across the
track?
tracks?
No, I was about to, but then there was a train coming our way, so I ran around the station.
So can you set up for the people listening what it was that you saw that you felt you needed to run across?
I mean, do you guys want to put on the other video? I think there's
we do have another video, but I believe it's kind of the same thing. You have the second video? Let's play that one.
Yeah, whatever. Let's do this.
Why did you have gloves?
I'll tell you guys. I'll explain the whole thing.
He saves
Do this
people every day.
often?
Yeah, those are my boys' shoes.
I wasn't gonna jump, man. I promise.
Yeah, this is Tank, by the way. That's Tank. Clearly, that's Tank on the on
wow.
the platform right there. Obviously, this is a sad situation.
Yeah, it's horrible,
But
man.
all right. Obviously, the questions are filling up in my head right now. Why do you have gloves? You said you were on the other side of the platform. What was it that you saw? Why don't you just take us from the top on this?
Yeah, I'll give you guys the whole lowdown. So I came back from work. It was actually my birthday that day. So I was with my two boys. Shout out to Mark and Jomo. And we were going to my birthday dinner downtown. And, Mark actually forgot his keys in our apartment. So we had to run back and so we had
It's the butterfly effect, man.
Yeah,
Serendipity,
crazy.
they say that if that didn't
Yeah.
happen, who knows if you would have been there at the
Yeah,
right time, the
crazy.
right place.
So I usually wear a butterfly on my necklace. My mom passed away when I was a little kid, and she always told me butterflies good luck. I was wearing it that day under my shirt, and so we went to the subway. We were going downtown, and we started hearing screaming, yelling, and I saw this guy, and he was kind of laying down half off the platform. You know where the yellow?
Yep.
Yeah, he was kind of half off of that. And I was like, this is so weird. Why is the guy laying down? And then I thought to myself, he's going to kill himself. And everybody started screaming. And he said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And he was laying down because it's easier for him to hide from the driver. He would just plop over and have like the perfect kill, I guess,
Yeah.
So everybody starts freaking out when we see this guy. And I can't explain to you. It sounds kind of cheesy and corny. I can't explain to you what went through my head. I just saw everybody like cover their eyes or take out their phones or.
Could you see the train coming?
I heard it coming.
Okay.
I heard it coming, and I don't know what happened. And I'm like, okay, I have to help this guy, I guess. And I was about to jump over the tracks, but there was another train coming on our side, so I ran across the thing, and within like 5 seconds, like with the adrenaline and all that, I don't really remember running down, but I remember jumping on the guy, kind of like.
And you pulled him away from the side.
Yeah, pulled him away from the side, and then the subway comes. If you guys see it in the video, comes.
Yeah. So it seemed like there was MTA workers there very quickly. I mean, they were there before the train even pulled in.
Yeah.
Were they just standing there watching?
No. So I guess people were calling them simultaneously to me. Pushing. But when I was across the subway tracks, there was nobody there. There was a guy like staring at him that could have easily like pulled him in, I guess. But yeah, they came once I was on him, and like. So
you rolled him off the side.
Yeah.
You pinned him down.
Yeah.
Now it looked like you guys were almost talking to each other at one point.
Yeah, I was having I had him like pretty secure. He was a pretty big guy, like Tank, and like.
Me, so.
And so I used to do like MMA and wrestling and all that shit, I guess. And I was like, this guy's not moving. I don't know if you guys can tell. I had him in a way on my knee that we learned in jiu-jitsu that if he were to start bucking and rolling, I could either take his back, I could break his hand,
Yeah.
Whatever. So I had him in a position where I knew he wasn't going to like do anything, I guess. And I was talking to him. I wanted to know what's up, And I'm like, hey, are you okay? He's like, I want to die. Please just like, don't save me. Let me kill myself, And I said, yo, we're going to get you help, brother. Like, that's what I just kept telling him. We're going to get you help. We're going to help you. Like, we all have those days, but like, I promise you, we're going to help you.
Was he drinking? He sounded like he was.
No, he was, from what I could tell, he was a normal guy. I think he was just off his meds, kind of had a downward spiral. He was wearing Lululemon shorts, Nike shoes.
So he does.
Definitely crazy.
Yeah, right? Probably fucking maniac.
I was going to say makes money.
Yeah, well,
Both
that's the other thing.
expensive.
I mean, you never know when people are down on their luck. And not only that, but it's also, people sometimes seem like they might be the most normal and everything's okay. And you never know what's going on behind the curtain,
100%.
What time was it?
This was at like 7:45.
Was there a lot of people on the platform?
Like kind of, yeah. There started to be a crowd form around.
That's
What's
a
your
good
thought as you're like running up and around? Like that part gives me anxiety when
Yeah.
you're like,
Get
it
there
could
too
be
late,
any
right.
second,
Yeah,
and I need to get there now, like right this
so-
second.
There's so many things happening at once, and everyone says they're gonna do something if something were to happen. So you don't really think. I just thought, I said, please God, like, do not let this guy die.
Have you ever heard of Bystander Syndrome?
Yes, yeah. I was
Kitty
Yeah,
Genovese.
I was gonna bring
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be me.
That was crazy.
Someone else will
Especially-
take care of it.
Yeah, why don't you talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
Because that sounds like what was actually happening here.
It's just a psychological theory that states that if there's something tragic or, emergency happening, the more people that are around, the less likely any one individual is to do anything about it. So if it was just you and him on the platform and you saw him doing that, there would be no thought about it. You would have like ran there probably not much time, but 10 seconds before. You were definitely looking like you said you saw a guy who could have helped him but didn't.
Or like the
that
idea
guy was
that
suffering from
anybody on the platform, if they were
Anybody.
the only one there with him, would have been like, oh, I got to help that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they'd feel responsible.
Yeah.
But,
And not to
yeah.
mention, we also live in a time where everyone feels like what they do is pull out their phones and record.
Yeah.
That's,
And that's-
unfortunately
and
one
that's
of the
like
go-tos.
the
Which
biggest
really two separate people did for different angles of the whole thing. Like,
right.
And that was like the biggest problem that I had, and kind of the biggest lesson that I learned on my birthday, I guess. I'm not a birthday guy.
How old are you?
20.
No, you're just a baby.
I know, I'm a little kid.
Already a hero.
Yeah,
and
look at that, man.
Yeah, and I just
That's
saw
amazing.
everybody on their phones, and I don't blame them, but I think we live in New York, and there's like this connotation in New York City that like, oh, you're on your commute, nothing can bother your commute no matter what.
Yeah.
You see a fight on the subway, everybody just backs up and like goes to another car. But like, how many times do we see someone that actually needs help and everybody's just staring? Or
Yeah, and especially it sounds like the way that you described the beginning of this situation, it almost sounds like maybe he was crying for help. Because if he really wanted to, he could just stand there, and the second that train's about to go by, just jump.
Yeah.
So makes you wonder if maybe he was hoping someone came and helped him. You know, you don't know, but
Exactly.
exactly.
You can't.
If that's the case, it's still sad.
It's sad either way.
It's still
It
not
is.
good.
It is. But this is the situation now where, you know, who knows what happened after that?
Exactly,
After you helped him, maybe that was one of those you came that close to death situations where maybe it snapped some sense into him. Maybe he now is going to seek the help that he needs. You know, you can only hope that.
Did he get arrested?
So
how did they handle that?
So yeah, so I can continue with the story.
Yeah.
So I get this guy, have him pinned down. I'm telling him we're gonna be there for you. We're gonna be there for you. Like, it's all good, brother. And he starts moving a little. So I said, hey, like, I know it's uncomfortable that my knee is on, you know, like my knee's on
Better
your
than a train though.
Yeah. But like, I felt kind of bad, you know. So I said, let me move you. You know, let's calm it down a little. Let me move you. You don't have to have your face on the floor. He said, if you move me, you know, when I said, like, are you gonna jump again? He said, if you move me, I'm gonna try and kill myself again. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so I don't know what that is.
Right.
So that was just like crazy. And then the MTA workers all pulled up, and they're like, they wanted to stand him up and this and that. And I felt him getting aggressive again. So we all came to like an agreement that I was just gonna stay there until the cops came. And then I saw like some stuff on his leg, some like maybe track marks, like kind of ringworm kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's when I asked them, I'm like, yo, can I get some gloves?
Yeah.
You know, in case, you know, you don't know what this guy's going to do.
Yeah,
He almost tried to kill himself. So
Right.
he wouldn't mind scratching me, biting me.
Of course.
You know,
Yeah.
biting my arm off, something. So why not just ask for the gloves?
Right.
Be safe.
I think I know the answer to this, but was there any point when you were even running over there where you thought I might wind up getting hurt or somehow end up on the tracks?
So this is where it like comes with the whole bystander thing. I don't think certain people should do certain things when needs be, like save someone from jumping off of a bridge or something like that. I mean, I knew I was capable of wrestling a guy and locking him up if I had to, because I did MMA and jiu-jitsu since I was a little kid, you know? So I've fought guys like tank size,
Right.
you know, so
And what happened?
either I got
win?
fucked up or yeah, or most of the time I won, you know.
Tank's
or,
not that big.
No, and I'm pretty weak.
No, not at all. What?
So if you're gonna do something, like you have to do it with full
Yeah,
confidence.
your
like,
safety's got to come first.
exactly. Like you always hear, like, if someone has a gun, like if you pull out your gun, you have to know how to use it
Right.
safely and properly.
Right.
And you don't just pull out your gun to show it. You pull out your
Well,
gun
that's
to
a huge
shoot.
problem in this country.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But
I know exactly what you're saying. And
Yeah.
it's funny that you actually brought that up because we, maybe a month or two ago, had someone on the show who actually did have to jump down onto the tracks, and they
Yeah.
literally picked someone up who we don't know if they fell or how they ended up there, but either way, he got down, picked them up, and put them on the platform before a train came in. And we had him on the show, and he said almost the exact same thing. He said that, you know, there are certain people who, you know, it probably would have been worse if
Yeah.
they tried to help
100%.
because they wouldn't have been able to lift this guy, and then there would have been two people that would have gotten run over. You know, so it rang a bell when you said that it's absolutely a good point. And luckily you were there. Did it look like anyone else on the platform probably could have pulled this off, or are you the only one down there that probably could have done this?
I can never judge, like, or say, like, oh, only I could have done it.
Right.
You know, I'm sure my boys could have helped me if we were right there. But it was really, when I say, like, this was in 5 seconds,
Yeah.
I want to see the subway footage. Like, I haven't seen the surveillance footage yet.
Right.
I don't know how I'm going to get that, but I want to see how fast it was. Because in my head, it was, like, my boys told me that my friend that took the video, he told me that he didn't know where I went, you know, and then I was on top of them, on
Right.
top of the guy, and I saw their subway car move, and ours just stopped. So I was staring at them, looking for me. You know, they had no idea that I was there, and I saw their facial expression, like, holy fuck, like, I
Right.
cannot believe he's on top of this guy right now.
Yeah.
You know, so they said, like, dude, that was a split second thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't even pay attention to anyone around me. You know,
Right.
there was a guy on the staircase, like, in my way, and I, like, remember throwing him. Like,
Yeah, I think just from talking to people who have been in your position, there is those blinders
Yeah.
that kind of go on, and like you were talking about how the time frame, you couldn't even tell, how
Yeah.
much time had gone by. Like there is almost this like, the shark eyes that just glaze over, and it's like, I have to get to that guy, and that's all I'm thinking about right now.
I don't care if I push 5 people down the stairs. I'm
I
going
don't
to
care
go
if I
save
kill
that
3
one
people.
guy.
I'm gonna save that guy.
Yeah, just to save one, we'll kill 5.
Let me ask you a question, an ethical question.
Problem.
How do you feel about the fact that you saved him? Do you feel proud or do you feel bad? Like the fact that you kept this guy from, like he seemed like obviously he was in a bad spot. Did that
Yeah.
cross your mind?
I mean, no, because I've had friends that had like suicidal thoughts. And, you hear stories of other like mutual friends that kill themselves or, I'm like a Jewish kid. I go to a Jewish university, Yeshiva University uptown. And I'm not even religious, but I was taught that like if you even save one person, no matter what, it's like saving the world. Because you don't know what that person's gonna do.
Well, it's a permanent. They say it's a permanent problem to a temporary situation. You don't know
Yeah.
how temporary that
You're right.
guy's is. However,
You're right.
I know that myself, I would feel both ways. I'd be happy
Yeah.
that I did it. I would feel glad that I was there to help the guy, but I would also be like, maybe this guy really wanted to fucking. How do I know? You know what
I felt bad, but who are we to judge
Yeah.
a person's?
And you can only
wanting
do
to-
so much,
Yeah.
like that was
Yeah.
your moment. Hopefully that guy won't
Yeah.
put someone else in that position
100%.
again.
Plus
but
all the other people on the platform
Yeah.
that have to see somebody get killed.
Yeah,
to
I
save
mean,
the
this-
whole thing.
that's traumatizing in
The
itself.
so
the MTA
traumatizing.
driver said like he was this huge dude, like 6'5".
This is the train driver?
Yeah, he was like, bro, thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done with myself if I would have killed a guy on my job.
My dad used to drive the trains for the railroad, and I think in his entire career he hit like 3 people, and it does fuck you up.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well,
People should kill themselves
you
at
know,
home. I'm
that-
going to say that right now.
That
It's
brings up a good point, and I know
Privacy.
it's a lot. Do it in the
Yeah.
privacy of your own home if you have to do it.
But
And
the
we've-
train stuff works. That's why people do it.
Well, yeah, and
It's
most of the time,
surefire,
most of
yeah.
the time. But that is one point that I did want to bring up is the not only the selfish act of killing yourself, but how it affects so many other people. And we've talked about it on the show a couple times. That train drivers, they have to go through like really rigorous therapy
100%,
after
yeah.
these people are jumping in front of the trains and they're the last thing that they see.
Yeah.
It's very traumatizing, not to mention the people on the platform
Yeah.
who also have to witness this.
I mean, there was a little boy right there with his mother.
yeah,
and she
better
went-
for him to see a hero than
Exactly, and
Yeah.
she was freaking out. She was the one that was helping me calling the cops because no one else would.
Yeah.
My boys didn't get there yet, and she was so scared. I had to take you see in the video, I'm on the phone with the cops because she couldn't like speak. And then I heard her when I was like holding down the guy, telling her son like, you see, this is why like you talk about your feelings, and this is why you don't do dangerous things, because people can die, and no one's gonna be there for you, and if you don't talk about your feelings,
you might get choked out by some Moroccan Jew.
yeah,
Subway platform.
and then the big Jew comes and gets you, like.
For the sake of your own misery.
Did you ever see the guy that fell on the platform years ago? It was on the cover of the New York Post.
Oh,
Some
yeah,
Asian
that-
guy.
so,
that was
again,
the worst thing I've ever seen.
That's again another thing we touched upon on the show, but also relevant.
Yeah.
There was the guy who fell onto the tracks and the train was coming,
He couldn't get out.
and there was a photographer who
and
took
he
his
the
camera
picture,
out,
Yeah,
No.
and he took a picture
crazy.
right the couple seconds before the
perfect
train hit
shot,
the
right?
guy.
It is not
and
wildlife.
one of the papers used that picture on the
front-
cover
New York
of
Post.
the paper.
Oh my
The headline
God.
was doomed. That was the headline on the front cover. I was like, I'm never reading the fucking news again, ever.
It's
You can't
that's
be taking
despicable.
photos of people like it's National Geographic, like just like letting wild shit happen like it's nothing.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
insane.
this is the picture.
oh,
And,
he was pushed.
and that train is moving. It looks stopped obviously because it's a picture. That train is coming in hot.
Yeah, it hit him hard
So
enough to
close
kill
in
him.
the picture. That's so fucked up.
And
I mean,
it's
and
just
listen,
the right
the
distance in the
train-
picture for somebody to just be able to get him
Yeah,
up.
he could have been
The
helped.
picture is. I mean, they may have zoomed in, but
Yeah.
it looks like they're pretty close to this
Yeah.
guy.
And those trains go fast, like, even when it's stopping.
What year was that? Sorry,
that must have been was it
2005.
Oh, was that far long ago? I thought it was more recent than that.
When was that?
It was 2012.
Oh yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. But again, it's the bystander effect, and thank God it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't. That wasn't a cause of this guy dying this time.
Yeah.
Thank God Choco was in that crowd.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude.
Crazy.
So let me ask you this: you haven't like I didn't see this in the news or anything. Someone might have even been one of your friends. I don't even know. Sent me a small article that I think might have even been in your school's newspaper or something.
Yeah. So I like posted a little Facebook thing of just like kind of with a picture of it, and I kind of regret posting the picture. You know, I guess I was all in my like adrenaline and
what was the
feels.
picture that you posted? That
It was
you
just
regret?
me like on the guy and saying like how like it was my birthday and I saw this guy thing, and I'm not a birthday guy, but the biggest present I got was learning how important it is to not be a bystander, you know?
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with
Yeah,
that.
What
no,
does that
I
mean?
know.
It's not. I'm not a birthday guy. You said that twice.
I've
never heard.
I hate birthdays.
You're fucking 20, dude.
Yeah.
Birthday should be the best day of your year.
Every day is the best day of my
Well,
life.
he's still got
Yeah.
the big one coming up, so maybe he'll change his
Yeah.
mind before.
No, but
then.
like every day is
You
a
don't
good-
like attention. You
No.
don't like people singing to you. It's awkward.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't like attention. He just made a
Oh.
Facebook post about how he saved the guy.
Yeah. Good attention with good reason.
Why do you regret posting the picture?
Yeah, that's what I was going to
I
ask
mean-
you.
I
Sorry,
mean,
Rick.
I don't know.
should
I
shut
kind of I kind of felt bad for the guy that I used his like situation to teach others a lesson. I guess.
I wouldn't say that at all
Yeah.
because I think nothing. I mean, yeah, it's not like his face. I think I saw the pictures and his face isn't in it. I mean,
Yeah.
like we said, it looked like fucking
Yeah, you
Tank
can't-
on the platform.
Can't really tell.
But at the same time, I think that is one of those almost pay it forward kind of things
100%,
where
100%.
someone's going to see that and, maybe
Yeah.
even subliminally in the back of their head, at some point, maybe this happens.
You know how many people call me, texted me saying like, "Yo, bro, because of you, like I look at my commute differently." You know.
Yeah.
Just because of what I saw.
And
They
that's-
look for opportunities to help. You mean?
Not opportunities, but they won't just get on the next subway car over if there's like something going on in one subway
Yeah.
car.
Well, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
depending on the situation.
So there's
I
more
guess.
than just saving someone that
Yeah.
came out of this, and
Yeah.
I think that's a huge takeaway. And I wouldn't be
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
100%.
embarrassed or ashamed of posting that. I think that was rightfully so.
Yeah,
And I think
100%.
a lot is going to come out of that it hasn't even already.
And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
do you know the guy that you saved? Did you get any
No,
information?
I tried to go to the precinct.
Bald man, if you're listening right now, we love you.
Yeah, we love you. If you're listening, if someone can get me in touch with him, I'm willing to pay for all his treatment, psychiatric treatment, and all that.
Jeez.
Like 100%. You know,
That's,
just get him someone to talk to. I guess.
I mean, with the clothes he was wearing,
Yeah.
it sounds like he'll be all right
Who knows?
as far as paying for
You
that
know?
stuff. But that's very nice of you.
Yeah.
He and it really didn't get picked up by any media, right?
Crazy, you know.
Yeah.
I was
When was it?
Especially
Thursday.
with videos attached to it.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy because
I was very surprised.
so I know that the media doesn't like to report or talk about the suicides. It actually happens almost once a day, and we don't know because they don't report on it because they do that on purpose because they don't want people to think they don't want to glamorize people jumping in front of trains. However, when
Also,
there's
how boring every single day after
it,
day.
it'll
It's like,
it
we'd
just
be over in a week.
desensitizes everyone.
Yeah.
But which is a very great point. But in these
R.I.P.
circumstances, I think that is one that you have to celebrate. You have to
100%.
kind of just because of
Yeah.
the reasons we just talked about.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. So I think maybe once this airs, I think when this story a little light is shed on it, I think that this won't be the last interview you're doing, for sure.
Yeah.
But listen, man, thank you for coming in. I
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
having
that.
me, honestly.
Absolutely. Daniel Chocron. Did I say that right?
Yeah. Chocron.
Chocron.
You know what else I like about you? You haven't said "I'm not a hero" once, because that fucking bothers me.
That bothers me too, actually. I don't know.
You're the only person actually I've ever seen. Like I haven't met a ton of people that have done heroic shit, but like have seen where you get called a hero and they're like, "I'm not a hero, just a regular." You're a fucking hero. You did a heroic thing,
Is
dude.
it worse
It's
to
a good point.
volunteer that you are a hero or that you're not a hero?
Yeah.
Not
where's that
volunteer
balance?
it, but to like refuse it. Like, no, anybody would have climbed up a burning building to save that girl. No, I mean, you're the only one who did, though. So we're looking at you now.
Well, yeah, I was gonna mention it must be cool. I feel like everybody considers those kinds of circumstances and is like thinks to themselves, "I hope I'm that type of person,
Yeah.
but I might never find out whether I am or not, or
hope
I
you
might
never find
find
out.
out for
Yeah,
the
I
worst."
hope so. Really.
You know, I
Show
might-
was crazy.
I might find out that I'm not, and there must be something that feels sort of good about being like, well, when
You can trust
shit hits
yourself.
the fan, like I know that I could handle things. It's
Yeah.
sort
I
of
mean, I just saw a
comforting.
video today of dude on a bus, like on a stopped MTA bus, like with a knife on top or whatever. And the driver tackled him, and then everybody jumped onto him at once. And they like grabbed the knife, grabbed his hand, this and that, like teamwork. And I was like,
see, that's good. That doesn't always happen. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of the time you do see the people with the earphones in, and they just turn around and they say,
Yeah.
"I'm out. I'm not dealing with this." But you know, luckily there are people like you. Have you guys ever been in a situation, maybe not as intense as this, but where you found yourself like the only one who had to kind of intervene?
I had a pretty crazy situation once.
What? All right.
wanna
Now you got to share.
Yeah.
I was driving down 112, which is a road in Long Island, and I was driving and I saw some activity up ahead. That's the only way I can describe it. I just saw some like weird car movements, and I was like, all right, I guess somebody like dropped their fucking phone or something and trying to pick it up or whatever. But I kept going on, and then there was the activity was between two cars. It was a car and a truck. And the truck kept trying to go around the car. I was like, oh, it's probably kids having fun with it. I had no idea what was going on. All of a sudden, this is at every light this is happening, like 2 or 3 lights. All of a sudden, the truck finally gets in front of the car, and there's oncoming traffic this way, so the car can't go around it. And a girl jumps out of the car and starts running, and she's bloody, and she's got no shoes, and her clothes are ripped.
Jesus.
And I was like 3 cars back, and I'm big, so like I'll do, you know what I'm saying? Like thinking about it later, I was like, this was so dumb.
Yeah.
Because the context of it, which I'll get to in a second, was like a little bit sketchy. So I rolled down my window. I'm like, hey, do you need help? I was gonna like call somebody for her. She rips my car door open, jumps in my car, closes it, locks it, and puts the seat back so like the guy that she's with can't see her.
Oh my god.
Long story short,
Yeah, for sure.
and she was a Spanish girl. MS-13 on Long Island it was a problem, especially like 5 years
that's
ago
a
when this
huge problem
happened.
out there.
That's
yeah.
fucking scary.
So that was my first thought. I was like, dude, why? What? You gotta fucking save everybody. You know what I mean? Like she's the
Just
only
getting
person
involved.
I've ever.
Now you have his girlfriend in your car. Like,
So the car comes. So the car, instead of going around the truck and going, turns around, and I jump out of my truck just to like flex on him because I don't want him to get up to the window, then see I'm big, then he's in too late. So I just got out to show him that like I can fucking handle myself, and he just took off. And then we hung out and waited for the cops. And it's funny because I looked in the rear view of the truck, and I see a guy. He makes eye contact with me, and he goes like this. And then I'm like, well, at least it was like 2 of us. And he gets out, and he's like got a broken leg and a fucking broken arm. And I was like, so it was like 1.5 of us.
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts.
And what did it turn out to be? He was just
beating the shit
like
out of her.
and she was in an abusive relationship or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. We called her mom. We called the police. The police came. We hung out. No, I didn't get involved in any report or anything.
How mad was your wife that you kind of volunteered yourself?
I don't. My wife doesn't get mad about her husband being a goddamn hero, Rick.
What if he gets killed trying to save some girl?
No, she
who-
understood the heat of the moment. It's like you're in the moment. You
Yeah.
make this. It's not a decision.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a reaction.
It's
yeah.
a reaction. Yeah,
It's
it's
a
like
fight or flight kind of thing.
something kicks in. I've had plenty of situations where I flighted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
I
know,
mean-
we've all
or,
been there.
or froze.
As I would be, I mean, in any sort of scenario with anybody who's even slightly bigger than me, which is mostly everybody, I would probably walk away. I think if I saw a kid in trouble, I would feel comfortable, like more than comfortable. I would probably run immediately
You gotta
to
go, mama bear.
the
Yeah.
aid of a child.
That's
but
them
other than
maternal
that,
instincts. Yeah.
it's like there is something to having to, know your limitations and being like,
Right.
If this
should
girl
not
was
get
fighting with
involved.
another girl on the side of the road, see ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
know when to walk away.
Right.
I
But the
think-
fact that she
yeah.
jumped out frantically and ran and her shoes were knocked off and her
Yeah,
clothes were ripped, I was
no,
like,
yeah,
she's-
that looks like
she's
something
in
out of a
trouble.
goddamn horror
think
movie.
she's getting kidnapped or
Oh,
something.
you know what
It's
is
very
funny?
apparent
You mentioned my
emergency.
wife. I keep voice notes on my phone, and we were going through voice notes. I was maybe listening to stand-up comedy sets that I had done, and I scroll, and I see like, Vanessa or something. She's like, what is that? And I didn't know what it was.
Oh boy.
And I was like, it's and I just
Let's listen to this together.
I just bit the bullet and I played it and I was like, oh, that's that time I was a hero. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you look
Oh
like
my god.
Gee.
So you're saying that could have been bad?
No, because I'm a perfect person.
No, if you played it out
I'm
loud,
glad you
you had
admit that
nothing to
though.
hide.
You don't say that you're you're just normal.
Somebody
You're-
else could have been, in some big trouble, but not me.
Well, again, Daniel, big shouts to you.
Man.
You know, I hope something really good comes of this, not only for him but for you as well. I mean, you know, karma's a thing. And
I definitely believe.
thank you
that.
for actually even coming down here to share the story. We had the videos, but to have you tell it in person and put some context to that, so much better.
I think you messaged me at like 1 a.m. I was like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, dude.
We'll do
It was late last night. I was like, I got to get this guy. I got to get him. And
I wonder
thankfully-
who sent it to you. It'd be interesting.
Well, yeah, and we'll make sure you get a copy of this. You know, you
100%.
definitely repost it and everything. Daniel Chocron,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming in. We got more show coming up right after this. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I know you thanked him so many times. Daniel Chocron, thank you so much for coming in. That was that interview. We need more people like him.
Yeah.
We need more people like him.
Young, too.
He's a good dude, and he's only 20 years old too.
Positive
That was crazy.
person.
Very positive.
Like,
I love his outlook
yeah.
on life. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something that, you know, that's
He's on a good
story.
start. If you start practicing doing like acting like that when you're 20, you'll be all right. by
When
the
do you
time
think
you're-
you got to that point?
I remember vividly being in my teens. So two answers. I started in my teens, and I remember my grandma, who I loved. She loved me. Like it was like such a special relationship. She was so nice. And I remember thinking, I was an angry teen. I was punching holes in the drywall like Kyle and shit, like fucking, you know, like just angry.
Yeah, you're a
angry teen,
meathead.
listening to Sepultura before going to bed. And I was angry, and I remember looking at her like she was so nice, and I'm like, I'm gonna wait till I'm her age to be nice. Like by then everything will be all right. I'll be calm, whatever. I'll wait till I'm like 70. And then I panicked because I was like, man, if I don't start practicing now, I'm gonna have 55 years of being an asshole under my belt if I do this for the next 55 years. So it was then that I decided that I would start trying to practice to be nice and calm and responsive instead of reactive. But I would say, honestly, my brain didn't really click into place until I was like 30.
Nah,
And
it
I
took
had
a
already
little
been
while.
sober
It takes a little while.
for 8 years.
And
at
you
that
also
time.
have to experience a lot through life.
Yeah.
You can't just like that. That's even more so why I was impressed with Daniel, because you need to experience things to actually know what the fuck you're talking about and how to
to know
deal
who
with
you
these-
are.
Exactly.
You got to trust yourself.
Right.
Took me a long time to trust myself. That guy knows he can trust himself.
That's
in
crazy.
Every
Yeah.
situation under that in intensity.
He's been raised the right
You
way.
know?
Yeah, you could definitely tell. All right, we do have some Subway news we could jump into real quick. This happened recently, actually. I believe Sunday. 2 of the Q trains up on 96th Street on the Upper East Side covered in graffiti, and I mean covered. Guys, do you have the pictures? These things, whoever
Wow.
did this, covered from the front
Holy
all the
shit.
way to the back.
Yes.
It is a
I love
lot.
It. I
of
love
paint.
it. I'm so impressed.
I think about how
It's a feat.
How many people do you think it took to do that? I mean, that is an
It's
entire
a lot.
fucking
It's a
train.
but it's a lot of straight lines and big, like open space. They use some
But
fat
think about how
caps.
much paint.
The sound
Yeah.
that is coming from like the side of the train. It's literally just like 50 spray cans
this
going
is the
together
back
at
we
once.
have right here. Yeah, look at this. I mean, they covered the windows. They covered every part of it.
ABS
it.
crew, baby.
Oh, is that what that is? At first, I thought it said ass, but yeah, that is a B. But
Anti-lock brake system, bitch.
but you think about, you
It
know,
looks so futuristic. It looks like the way they painted it just looks like a real vessel. I like
It's
it.
like a big piece of salmon.
yeah. Well, it actually, a little bit, or a fleshy cock.
A spam
Are you just hungry?
for cock.
I knew he was going to put those two together. It was inevitable. So the 2 cars were out of service. It's not like the cars had just pulled into a station. They were out of service, and someone, I guess what they do is they put out of service cars in the
yard.
tunnels.
Oh,
And so these people wandered down the tunnels. They clearly knew where they were going, what they were doing. They covered them with a shit ton of spray paint. And then I actually talked to someone who we had on the show who used to do this stuff back in the 90s. And I was asking him all these questions. So he was like, you know, the train's going to end up getting pulled out of service. Because I was asking him how the hell they clean these things after this. He goes, they just have to power wash them until they actually get all of that off. And the cleaning costs are absurd. So last year, spray paint alone, over $600,000 had to come out of the budget just to clean these cars. So this isn't like a small thing.
Creating jobs, man.
Creating jobs. You're
I
also
don't know.
taking trains out of service. You're spending unnecessary money to do this. But I guess if you want to look at it that way,
I'm just
sure.
picturing how satisfying it is to be like power
my God, I
washing
would
the
love
paint
to have
off
that
that
job.
thing, especially compared to like your usual job of cleaning the vomit off the floors of the train to just
Yeah.
be power washing all day.
Well,
sounds
that's what
great.
I was thinking. I was like, can you just bring those power washers onto the train and like get the whole inside too? Because all these trains just need to get, they need
Burned.
to throw them out.
Yeah.
They need to be
It's
burned.
bad.
to
Did
ash.
you hear? Do you know what they do with the old trains?
No.
They dump them into the ocean to make reefs.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So they have pictures, guys. Try to find some pictures of the trains that they load them up onto a barge and they just dump them off the side into the ocean. And
they're claiming it's good for the ocean.
they claim that they're building
Must
reefs.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah, the fish just love
That
looking
sounds
up and
really
having a
great.
fucking sea train land on them. But
The sea train, I get it.
I didn't even mean
I
to do
like
that.
that.
Didn't even mean to do that.
Sure you didn't.
Yeah, but that's what they need to do with all these trains. It yes, here you go. These are real
That's
pictures.
fucking dope. I take it back. I like it.
I mean, imagine that's your home. That's your new home.
That's what they look like now. What the
That's your
fuck is the
dirty ass
difference?
home. Honestly, that
It's not far off.
no, it's not too far off. That train just got dumped yesterday. That's like really not that different
There's
from the train
something
that
like
pulls up.
Little Mermaid about it, like just swimming through the train. I like it.
Yeah, and it actually doesn't look that deep. The water looked kind of bright.
Like clear.
So, you
yeah.
know, yeah, it's not that bad. But obviously, we'd be
That one's terrifying.
That's a little scary. See, that's how I pictured it. Not all like bright and clear, you know.
Oof.
It's like Tales from the Crypt when
Yeah.
they get buried under the water.
Oh my god, throwback. So we have to talk about that because that just happened, and that's actually something we haven't talked about. I don't like talking about the graffiti stuff a lot because I don't want to glamorize it. I don't want to promote it and make it sound like, oh, you know, they're talking about it. You know, even more of a reason why we should do it. However, that was pretty insane. That was 2 trains that were covered front to back, and it looked like a lot of manpower and a lot of spray paint went into that. Tank, I know you don't smoke. Alex, I know you do. We almost had, well, they're claiming they had the first weed overdose.
Oh, I know. I saw that.
Did you see
Bullshit.
this?
So dumb.
Yeah. So
Shit.
other doctors are calling bullshit. They're saying this is not true. A 39-year-old woman in Louisiana was found dead on her couch. They did an autopsy. She had healthy organs. She had no illnesses, but extremely high levels of THC in her system.
What's extremely high?
Well, if I said a number, would it matter anyway?
I think you have to smoke
sort of.
36,000 joints in an hour to get
Yeah,
a lethal
but you
dose of
smoke-
THC.
Is that what the
5
numbers?
pounds of weed in a
It's
day? Like,
not even close to enough.
yeah.
So I think that's
You
why
could smoke 5 pounds a day and still not.
I think
die.
that's why other doctors who don't know anything about the case are just looking and they're like, no.
No.
They're like, no, this isn't true.
Well, that's something the media does. They find a dead woman who could have died from any different number of reasons, find out that she has THC in her blood, and claim
Whilst
it's the
high,
first
yeah.
weed overdose.
right.
It's
And so, of course, now you have all the people coming out saying, we told you, we told you. The only thing that the other doctors are saying is that now with, the way weed is, it's becoming a lot stronger than it ever was. But that being said, it's still not strong enough to kill you.
No, it's
so
really
they
not
have
even
to smoke
close.
18,000 joints in an
Yeah.
hour.
Exactly. So it wouldn't even make a difference.
No.
You'd still have to smoke an absurd amount.
I think you would have to smoke in an amount that it's actually the smoke that's killing you because you're not taking in oxygen anymore.
Right.
It's like you're almost
Well, that's like,
Like-
have you ever put those masks on? And,
gas
like,
mask.
oh,
Yes. It's
God.
the dumbest way to smoke weed
It's
in the
so
world.
bad.
It's crazy.
I have anxiety. I
It
did it
burns
once
your
and I had
face.
anxiety. I was just like, you feel like you can't breathe because you can't
Yeah,
breathe.
it fucks you up.
Yeah, it's once.
How old was
Once
she?
did.
I don't think she was smoking out of a gas mask.
She was 39 years old. I actually
been gas
don't.
masked.
I actually don't know the method. I think. I
method?
think they said she had a vape pen.
That's the fucking most innocent way of doing
A
it.
vape
Yeah, but if you suck the juice out and then inject it into your blood, you could.
Yeah, well, you do that with pretty much anything.
Actually, you know what? She didn't do that, but like if you inject nicotine, if you get nicotine on your skin, too much of it, you can get very sick.
on your skin.
But
Yeah.
nicotine is different. You could overdose from ingesting too much nicotine, whereas in theory, you can't really overdose from ingesting too much marijuana, as we know up until this.
It's 2019. If it hasn't happened yet,
Yeah.
the first one. It's ironic that around legalization talk, the first weed overdose ever happens, but that's because it's on people's minds. This is a stupid fucking topic, Rick.
Yeah.
No, it was very relevant because we were anticipating Kim being here, and Kim's a big smoker, and I wanted to bring this up with her.
Maybe she died.
Maybe that was
I hope not, Kim. I hope you're not dead from a weed overdose.
No, I talked to
too.
her. I talked to
you
her.
did? You talked to her soul.
talked to her.
You talked to her ghost.
But here's all right. So we usually do a segment with Kim where she talks about what pissed off who in the week, and there's always obviously something in the So what I want to bring up, I posted a photo last week because it happened in the subway of someone who I guess dropped or left a shark in the subway. Obviously,
Dropped it?
well, because they clearly dropped it. I mean, they didn't catch it in the subway. We have the picture. Here's the picture. I mean,
Oh, the poor little guy.
Baby shark doo 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 doo.
Yep, there was plenty of those comments.
Sure.
But
What else can you say?
well, I mean,
You
so
nailed
someone brought up the point that there are people who eat it. So maybe someone was bringing it home. That may look more like someone may have caught it and was bringing it home after fishing or something.
No, that's a sand shark. That was
Well, someone actually said it was this is, you know how the comment section goes.
yeah.
That's
Bunch
not
of
a
know-it-alls.
that's not a shark. That's a dogfish, which is technically in the shark family, but it's not a shark. I was like,
It's a cousin
dude,
to the
who
shark.
the fuck cares?
Yeah.
All right, dogfish, whatever.
That's even worse.
But it pisses me off because then you have the people who are like, they get mad because they think that someone left. Maybe they did, I don't know. But they think that their mind goes to someone left the shark there. So someone even said, I hope I hope the person's baby gets dumped in the subway like this.
Oh,
and I'm
get
just like,
over it.
why?
Yo,
why are
Holy
we
shit.
going
I was just thinking about that yesterday because you see a lot of videos of people hurting dogs or fucking kids or whatever. Like if you stay on the internet long enough, you say this stuff. You see this stuff. Someone leaves their kid in a hot car. The kid dies. Like if your first instinct is to inflict violence on the person that did that thing, you are them.
Yes.
One fucking action removed.
Yes.
How do people not see that?
And that's what I wanted to bring up because that's what pissed me
I will
off this
fight
week.
everybody.
Because I'm just like, and maybe you can shed some light on this as well. But the comment section and the trolls and the DMs,
Yeah.
that I know we've talked about this in the past.
Yeah.
Is just, I mean,
It's toxic, dude.
It's so toxic. You gotta ignore them. I mean, you just
People get very excited that
get
they know
so-
something.
they get so mad, and everyone
Like the
wants
fact
to be
that
heard.
that guy knew it was a dogfish. That was his moment. He was like, that was his time to shine because
Yeah.
he knew something.
Oh, I can't tell you how often I know something, and I'm like, you want to express what you know so badly, and you have to be like, there's no reason for me to type
A
this
friend of
right
mine
now.
made a meme with an old woman who was like tatted up and Maori woman, maybe. I don't know. I'm sure whoever knows what she actually is will tell me, but she was wrinkled and tatted up and she had piercings, and like he made a joke about your grandma being savage or something. I don't know what the fuck it was. When your grandma is lit as fuck or whatever it was, and somebody comments, that's actually the oldest living member of this tribe in this jungle. Like, so what? Who
Yeah.
gives a fuck?
Right.
So I can't use her in a meme?
Right.
Because you know who she is?
Right.
What?
And we get that all the time. And those are the ones you just kind of have to, you're like, I'm not even going to entertain you right now.
I used to, though.
You used to react.
I used to engage because I didn't understand what people's problems were. Now I know people just can't help themselves.
Yeah.
But I was telling you before, I made a I made an anti-vax meme, which I rarely do because it's just it's just so controversial.
You can't get political or religious.
It's not political, dude. It's kids not dying. It's not Congress or
Listen,
Senate.
we're on the same team here. I'm
I
just
know.
saying you got to know by going down that route, you're going to get these kind of reactions.
Somebody actually wrote, Tank, I missed you or I liked you better when you weren't political. I'm unfollowing you. And I just replied, I wrote, political. How is it? Anyway, so It was scientists said, we've made a vaccine that can save your child's life. And anti-vax moms, it's the scene of Spider-Man where the guy's dad is like, I'm something of a scientist myself. When he says that to Peter Parker.
I mean,
and people went ballistic. I even made a video about the comments because they were so outlandish. People were like, some people, maybe 10. I don't know. Like there was 600 comments on the meme. Maybe it was 10 comments and DMs where people were like, you need to do your research.
Yeah.
And I made a whole video about like, I'm not doing research before I make a meme. Do you understand what the fuck you're asking me to do? I'm making a joke. You want me to go to college, learn how to read medical journals, read them, and then think about that before I make the meme? No. I actually said to my wife, I was like, I wish there was a vaccine against stupidity, but they wouldn't take it, so it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, it's fucking, we're lost. We're fucked.
And I've actually fallen into that trap too.
Anti-vaxxer?
The comment section where you maybe 2 or 3 people say something similar.
Yeah.
And they speak for everyone in the comment section. And in my mind, and I've said this before, I go, wow, can't believe everyone thought this.
So
and
dramatic.
It was like 2 or 3 people. I'm so fucking extra when it comes to that shit. I'm like, I can't believe everyone thought that in the comment section. What idiots.
I know.
And it turns out it's 2 or 3 people who just may have agreed with each other.
Yeah.
But they feel so much louder than everybody else.
It does.
You want to internalize the positive feedback so much, but like anything negative just comes out 10 times as loud for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's rare. That's why it stands out. That's the whole reason why I try not to pay attention to it is because I know the only reason I'm picking up on it is because it's 1 out of 100.
Right.
Otherwise, I wouldn't recognize it.
Right.
So, but I still get pissed off.
I know. I've tried to stop reading them.
Do your research.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, let's jump into the clip of the week real quick.
Next up, Subway Creatures, clip of the week.
Tank, we talked about this on our way over here. This video's kind of wild. I wish it. Yeah, well, I'm glad it didn't escalate. But let's just watch this real quick.
She's laughing.
That's me, that blonde lady. Oh, I love her.
We have a guy wielding what looks like a
hammer.
Dangerous hammer, but it's a pretty. That hammer looks more dangerous than most hammers.
Yeah, because he was swinging it at somebody.
But did you see the back end? It almost looks like it was sharpened or something. Either way, he's hitting the poles. He's swinging it at this guy.
Yeah, it's a regular hammer.
But
this white
then
lady
there's a woman who
is the
runs
star
through
of the
screen
video.
and she's laughing.
She is so uncomfortable.
I laugh when I get nervous.
This reminds me, yeah. No, it's definitely like that. I remember in 8th grade, I went to a friend's father's funeral and literally couldn't help but laugh the whole time, like almost the whole time. And I was like, I don't know, like I was so ashamed of myself afterward for being like, I don't know what that was. But that woman had the exact same thing going on. She had the exact same thing. She was terrified and very upset.
I could definitely see you being that person.
There's nothing worse than being young, having no control over yourself, and being in a situation where you're not supposed to laugh.
Like,
oh my God.
And not being able to not laugh.
I didn't think anything was funny about it. I was just like so uncomfortable that my body was laughing. Like it was just a reactionary. It was wild.
Crying and
really
laughing are very
uncomfortable.
similar.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I mean that video actually kind of made its rounds at one point this week. I know. So you may have seen it, may not have, but those are the moments that we run into down in the subway every once in a while, and it's scary. It's a scary situation. All right, guys, let's jump into shameless plugging. This is the part of the show where I want you guys to tell people where they can find you, what you have coming up. Let's start with you, Tank.
Listen to the Think Tank podcasts, and please write a fucking review for the love of God. Tank's Good News, Tank Sinatra, and memegodsmovie.com. See what we have going on over there.
Bam. Alex, what do you got for us?
You could follow me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Alex Scar, and please listen to my podcast with Kim Congdon. It's called Broad Topix, spelled Topix. We get way too personal every week. It's pretty fun. If you're into people who overshare, come give it a listen.
Oh, and that's what podcasts are for, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. I said every week, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Check out the Instagram page, Subway Creatures Pod. We're going to throw podcast highlights up there as well as bonus content that will not be on the main account. And lastly, use promo code Subway on gasdigitalnetwork.com and you can get a 14-day free trial as well as all the bonus content that we share. That is all the not safe for work stuff that you guys send me that we cannot use on the accounts. We have a place for it. Again, that's using promo code Subway on gasdigitalnetwork.com. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Tank, it's finally good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Alex, thank you for sitting in. This has been fun.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Until next week, we'll catch you then.